this video, I'm going to show you how to access your exams and also how to answer the various types of exam questions. So here, this is the course page for SOMAS training. So for going to choose the particular course that you want to do your exam in, and then you scroll down to the section containing your final examination. So here you can see two tabs, one for the examination and one for course lecturer evaluation. So the course lecturer evaluation can be done at any point, that is before the exam or after the exam. For the exam itself, it has a timeline. So you need to check your timetable to check the timings for the exam. So on the day of the exam, at the right time, then you can come to this section and choose that tab for SOMAS or for your examination. So that will take you to the front page of the exam. So the front page contains all the details about the exam, that is the course name, the semester, and the time. And it also contains the instructions which you will need to read before you start your attempt. Here it takes you directly to the first question. So since I am using my smartphone, then the navigation window usually appears at the bottom of each page that you are in. So for this case, I can now see the navigation window. So here I have question 1 up to question 5, where question 1 is compulsory. So for you to ensure that you are answering the right question at any time, then you need to make use of the navigation window. So in this case, I want to choose the first question of question 1. So something else that you need to note, you can notice that under question 1, you have the numbers 1 to 6. So let this not confuse you. So basically what this means is the numbers 1 to 6 indicate the subparts under question 1. For question 2, you can see numbers 7 and 8. So that is not question 7 or 8, but that is the first and the second part of question number 2, and so forth up to the end there. So let's go and start our first question here. So the first type of question that you are going to see in your examinations is the nature of the exam. You to indicate the type of attempt, whether it is a first attempt, a supplementary exam, or a special exam. So you select the choice accordingly. The second type of question is one that requires you to answer or to give more than one answer. So basically here I will just choose what I think are the correct choices. The third type of question is where you're required to answer only one. So here I need to choose only one choice. But if you think you have chosen the wrong one, then you can just select the other one that you think is correct. And the one that was previously selected will be automatically. So the other type of question is whereby you have two options. So one option is to write your answer within the system, and the other option is to upload a file. So in this case, in the uploading of the file, you need to have a plain paper, preferably A4, and then you need to write your answers on that plain paper and scan using the available mobile phone scanners and then upload. So let me start with whereby you write on the system. So you can see on this page you have the window that allows you to input your answers there. So if I wanted to write my name, then I would just type my name under that particular window. So student name. Alternatively is if I chose to write my answers on a plain piece of paper, then what I would do is I can leave this page and go to one of my scanners on the phone. So I am choosing Adobe Scan. So if I choose that, so what I need to do is to scan that particular paper that I've written my answers on. And you need to notice that this particular piece of paper has my registration number written on it. So I can do that for more than 2 pages. So you can see Adobe Scan automatically searches for the edges of the paper and takes the photo without necessarily asking you to crop. Okay, so if that is the case, then I can see the pages, and the name given is Scan July. So I may want to change that name and say, for example, this is SMA, for example, 101 exam. So I can save that PDF. I could just say SMA 101. So once the PDF is saved, then you can go back, make sure the uploading is complete. So once it's complete, go back to your SOMAS page. Then click on the Add button. So you can click on the Add button and then choose the file from where it is. So in my case, it takes me directly to Adobe Scan. So I will just choose the file appropriately and then click on Upload. So once you have uploaded, you should be able to see the file that you chose from your phone or from the scanner app. The next type of question is where you are only expected to give your answers within the system. So here, this is where you write your answers. You can say this is my answer. Okay, so once that is done, the system automatically saves that for you. The other one here is where you are only required to upload a file. So I'll go through the same process again. So scan your document and then upload. So let's just go to upload since we have seen how to scan. So go choose the file from wherever it is, and then choose the particular file, which in this case can be more than 1 page. So once that is the case, click on the upload and you should be able to see the uploaded file on the window, and the window that you're already given there. So once that is done, you can see you're prompted to go to the next page, but I would recommend that you make use of the navigation page, which you can see it here. So if I chose to do question 2 and another question, then I just select one of those pages under or one of those sub questions under the question I'm interested in. So for this particular question here, you are supposed to, you are asked to calculate the mean, or in this case, x bar of some random, of a random variable x, and you're given the specific values. So here you know that if you are asked for a mean, then it means what is expected of you is to give a number that can contain decimal points. So what is the mean of those 4 numbers there? I would say this is 3.5. Okay, and once you enter your answer, you should get a validation on the validation window. So you can see this part where it's indicated that your last answer was interpreted as follows. So that is what we call your validation window, which basically tells you whether the answer you provided is valid or not. The next question is a statistical question, which in this case expects you to put frequencies. So from what we know about frequencies, these would be whole numbers or in other words, counts. So I would say my answer is 2 for that part, B 3, 4, and so forth. As you enter your answers, you can see the validation window comes up. Okay, so basically the boxes that are given there are where you need to input your answers. So for example, if I put a value which has a decimal point, for example, then I should get a validation window telling me that the answer that I've entered is invalid. This is because your lecturer already knows what is expected of you. That in this case, the lecturer, he or she does not expect you to put a value that has decimal points, because basically frequencies will be whole numbers or counts, in other words. So that is that type of question, and I'm done with question 2. If I want to go to question 3, then I click on the sub part for question 3. So sometimes your lecturer may want to give you more information about a particular question. So for this, you can see this is just an information page or an information entry. So it's just information to give you or to inform you more about the question that follow. So in this particular case, we are just being told the kind of syntax SOMAS accepts, and we can see that the syntax used here are broadly similar to the syntax used for mathematical formula in graphical calculators and so forth. So that's one of the information. You also have more information on the use of multiplication. Using stars to indicate multiplication. So for example, if you want 3x, then you have to enter that as 3 star x. If you want to put a power, say for example, have x squared, then you'll have to write x, the caret sign, then 2. So basically, that's information to help you in answering the question or information on the syntax. The other type of question here is simply showing you how to use the angle brackets to, to indicate inequalities. You can also use, the V and the inverted V for logical connectives such as and, or, and so forth. So basically, these type of questions, you're not expected to answer anything, but just to get more information about the questions that follow. So the next question here is asking you to type the square root of -5. So for square root, you will need to type SQRT, and because you're getting the square root of a number, then you need to make use of the square brackets and then put the value -5. So once you type that, you should be able to see a validation window, which basically gives you exactly, or gives you the interpretation of the answer that you have given. In the next question, you are asked to input the equation y equal to 3x plus 5. So let's put that. So y equal to 3 star x then plus 5. So you can see the validation window there, and it gives you exactly what is shown or what is expected of you. But now what happens if, for example, you remove the star? So if you remove the star sign there, then you can see the validation window tells you that the answer that you input there is not valid. And it even gives you a recommendation of what may be missing. So in this case, I'm told you seem to be missing star characters. So let me put my star. So once you do that, then the validation window gives you the interpretation of the answer that you have entered. The next question is a case where you can work line by line and you're told to show you're working. So for example, for this particular question, I'm told to solve that equation. So basically I want to solve for x. So I would enter and then try to solve that. So let's, from what we know, so my next step would be x squared. Okay, so I want to have two numbers whereby if I sum them, I get -5. If I multiply them, I get +6. So basically those are two numbers, which is 3, -3 and -2, cos plus 6 equal to 0. So that is the second line, and I can see it there. So if I now introduce brackets, then I would have x into x minus 3 bracket, then minus 2 into x minus 3, close the bracket, equal to 0. So I can see that. So I know this will give me x minus 2, then multiplied by x minus 3 equal to 0. Okay, so from there I know that from this either x minus 2 is equal to 0 or x minus 3 is equal to 0. Basically, I can say that x will be either x will be equal to 2 or x will be equal to 3. Okay, so basically I have finished doing my, I've finished giving my answer, and I've worked line by line. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So here it's just basically to show you how to enter some of these mathematical symbols. So for example, if I wanted to enter the value or the number pi, so I would just write pi. So you can see in the validation window, I have the pi. If I wanted to write delta, then I just write d delta, the word delta. That gives me the small delta. But if I wanted the other delta, which is the capital, so I just write with capital delta, and you can see you have the delta there. So you can, for any of those mathematical symbols, then you need to know their names and just write their names accordingly. So if I wanted beta, I would just write beta, and I have my symbol beta. So I'm done with question 3. Let me go to question 4. And note that I am making use of the navigation window. This is because during the exams, according to the instructions that you are going to be given, you are expected to answer maybe question 1 and any other 2 questions. So if you go, if you navigate using the next page tab, then you may not know which question you are answering at what point. So always make use of the navigation window. Remember, I'm using my phone, so it looks like my network, but my network is lost a bit, but now it's back. So if it's back, then it means my answers have been auto-saved. So the next question is about using floating points, or putting in fractions where floating points are not allowed. So let's start with the first part, where I'm asked to type 0.3333 x squared. So even before I continue, I can see that already there's already a validation. The validation window is already showing me that I have an invalid answer. So this is basically because the lecturer has set this question in such a way that I am not allowed to enter decimal points, or in other words, enter floating numbers. So this means instead of writing 0.33, I may have to replace that with 1/3. So I need to write x squared divided by 3. So I'll write that divided by 3. And then you can see in the validation window, I have exactly what I am expected to write in the second part of that question. So the next one is putting inequalities. So you are told to input x less than 0. So I just write x and then put the angle bracket for less than 0. So put in less than 0. Or if you wanted greater or equal to, then I just write the sign. So let's start with less or equal to 0. There you are. You can see the validation window and so forth. So for the greater or equal to 0 or 3, then you need to use the greater than sign, then followed by equal sign. So let's go to the next question. So here you're expected to put in the natural log. So let's put ln. You have the brackets. You want the natural log of x minus 1 squared. So there's a bracket somewhere there. X minus 1. Then since you want a square, then you have 2. So you can see from the validation window, you have exactly what you expect. So in this case, you have to make sure that you have put the brackets where they are needed. The next one is just to put the polynomial. So I think we have gone through this. Basically, you have to put in the star sign for multiplication where necessary. Use the caret sign where needed. That is for the power. So here we have x power 4, then minus 6 x squared. And you can see already I have an error, which means I needed to have a star there. Then minus 7 star x plus 23. And there in the validation window, I have my answer given. So let's go to the next question, which is question 5. So in this question, it's basically to show you how to use the caret sign for powers, and also to make use of the brackets in the appropriate place so that you can express divisions. So let's write that expression there. You want x squared divided by, so because I'm dividing by all that expression there, I need to put that under the bracket. So I have x minus 5, and then of course close the bracket, open another bracket, and have x plus 1, close the bracket. So let's see the validation window. So here my answer is invalid because I have not put the star sign to indicate multiplication. So I need to put the star sign between those brackets. So if I do that, then I have exactly what I wanted as my answer. The next part is here you want to enter sets and lists. So for sets, they are usually enclosed by curly brackets, while the lists are enclosed by square brackets. So here you are asked to type in the set 2, -2 and -1. So for example, if I make use of the square brackets and write -2, comma, -1, then you can see I have an invalid answer. This is because what is expected here is a set. So I need to put the curly brackets, but not the square brackets. So if I do that, then you can see that I have the answer that is expected of me. So the next one is where we are expected to input trigonometric functions. So the example given here is sine 2x. So all you need to write is sin and then in bracket the number. So in this case the number is 2x, or the variable in this case is 2x. Now here you can see that my answer is invalid because I need a multiplication sign between 2 and x. So if I put it there, then now I have what I expected. So once that is the case, and you've ensured that you have done all the questions as needed, so you can finish the attempt. So there are two places where you can click the finish attempt. So you have one on the navigation window, and you have another one immediately at the end of the last page. So you may want to use any of them. So let me use this one on the navigation page. So I click the finish attempt. So once I finish attempt, then I will get a summary of my attempt on the status of all the questions that I have attempted. So you can see you're told the answers are saved. For some of them, there are those where the answer is incomplete. This may be because I was not in a position to answer that. Okay. So if you feel you want to go back and attempt one that you had not completed and you still have enough time, then you can return to the attempt. And you can also see the time left. So the time left for timed exams usually is visible on the navigation page, and you need to be checking that, especially when you're doing your exam, so that you know how much time is left. So if you feel all your answers, you're satisfied with your answers, then you can click on submit all and finish, and you need to confirm that. So once that is done, then you will get a summary. So here there is the state which indicates finished, and you can review the attempt that you did.